When Henry David Thoreau was on his deathbed, a friend came to him and asked, "Have you made peace with your Maker?" And Thoreau replied, "I did not know we had ever quarreled." This morning I'm reminded how there are many different kinds of people in the world. Some of us are temperamentally declined toward peace, and others of us are temperamentally inclined to quarrel. And some of us have a particular gift at making an enemy out of almost anyone. I'm reminded of the cartoon show The Simpsons. There's an episode where Mr. Burns, who's sort of portrayed as a ruthless capitalist, owner of a nuclear power plant, is approached by his very loyal aide, Smithers, who says to his boss, "You have vanquished all your competitors. You must be very proud." And Mr. Burns smirks like an old black and white silent movie villain and says, "No, not while my nemesis gives free light, heat, and energy to our customers. I call this enemy the sun." Well, I mentioned this cartoon TV show because it's hard to be at peace with the universe if you're not at peace with the sun. And one of the ways you can tell that we here at our church aspire to be at peace with the universe is we have solar panels on our roof right above your head. And we support excellent organizations like SEED that are working to help transform our economy with clean and renewable energies, giving new hope and skills to young people. However, peace with the universe can be hard to come by in this contentious age. This week I drew a cartoon for our newsletter and posted it on Facebook. I don't assume everyone reads the newsletter or follows my Facebook page, but the cartoon poses a theological question, and that theological question is this: what if Jesus were to come again and the first thing he said to us was, "Happy holidays"? We're approaching the holiday season, and some of us are looking for things to argue about, but it doesn't have to be a time to quarrel. When I served a church in Ohio, there was a courthouse that was not very far in the same state from us, where they tried their best to be inclusive. On the front lawn of the courthouse, there was a Christmas manger scene, a Hanukkah menorah, a Kwanzaa candelabra, and there was a display set up by a local atheist organization that had a sign that said, "Once more around the sun, happy winter solstice." Now, if you don't observe Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or winter solstice, you may join with some of my friends who celebrate something called Festivus. Festivus for the rest of us. But regardless of what holiday is important to you, chances are the timing of that holiday has something to do with our relationship to the sun. We are approaching the time of winter solstice, which is the shortest day of the year and the longest night due to the axial tilt of our planet as we rotate around the sun. Holidays around this time of year in the northern hemisphere tend to be meditations on the power of light in the midst of darkness. The candles of a menorah, the lights of a Christmas tree, the Yule log, all of these are traditions that involve creating light in the midst of darkness. The absence of light can impact our moods. It's called seasonal affective disorder. That's the name for it. It comes with an acronym that's very appropriate: SAD, S-A-D. It is a phenomenon not limited to the human species. I had a friend who was a psychologist who gave a talk on seasonal affective disorder, and she gave her talk the title, "Even the Chickens Don't Lay Eggs." So all of creation is affected by the season. And one of the ways to test if we are affected by seasonal affective disorder is just to walk outside during the sunniest part of the day and see if we feel better than we did before. And if we do, we can contemplate the mystery of how something 92 million miles away can improve our mood here on earth. That's a mystery worth contemplating. To be at peace is to be in relationship with the whole universe. I remember once watching a sunrise from the top of Mount LeConte with my friend and fellow church member Lamar Gibson, and afterwards he said, at some point I realized for the first time, just in a feeling kind of way, that it wasn't the sun rising, it was the earth turning. And as soon as he said it, I got this feeling sitting on that mountaintop like I was at the top of the tallest roller coaster ride I'd ever been on. But that's what a 24-hour day is like. It's like a ride on a Ferris wheel or a tilt-a-whirl or one of those mini spinning rides at Dollywood or the Tennessee Valley Fair, because the earth is spinning on its axis while it rotates around the sun. That is one wild ride. Most of the time we don't think about it much or we would get dizzy. But this time of year, the holidays serve as a reminder that it's time to go once more around the sun. And this can be a sad time. It can be a time when we're aware of those we've lost in the past year or in years past. It might be a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, a spouse, or a friend, or a family member, someone we've lost, someone who will not be at the table this year at the holidays. Sometimes we are especially aware of our losses as we make one more trip around the sun. And yet, even so, a sunrise can be very inspiring. Whenever I go to the beach, I'm the only one in my household who likes to do this, but I get up early while it's still dark in order to watch the sun rise over the ocean. And I feel like I'm in an impressionist painting. It feels like the waves are painting the beach with color as they wash onto shore. And all around me, there are every kind of shade of pink, purple, blue, white, gold. It's a stunning visual experience of vibrant color. However, this summer when I was camping in the Smoky Mountains, I became aware that I could hear the sunrise before I ever saw it. Lying in my sleeping bag in my tent, I could hear the world waking up before I ever saw new light. Gradually, the music of the stream flowing around rocks was augmented by one songbird, and then a few, and then a whole chorus of songbirds. And it brought to mind the hymn, "Morning is broken, like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken, like the first bird." Of course, in the Smokies, there are warblers and orioles, sparrows and thrashes and thrushes, herons, owls, woodpeckers, geese, and more, a chorus to welcome a new day. And these sounds are a reminder that we don't actually have to see the sunrise to be affected by it. We can hear the sunrise before we ever see it. When I lived in Indiana, I often missed the mountains of East Tennessee, but one of the things I realized is that very flat land makes for some spectacular sunrises and sunsets, just beautiful colors all through the skies. In the hills and hollers of East Tennessee, we do not always see the sunrise or the sunset, but we feel it. We feel it inside. We are still on this wild ride, this spinning ball. There is a Buddhist saying that tells us meditation doesn't make the sunrise, but it increases the chances that our eyes will be open and that we will be awake when the sun rises. I would add, meditation increases the chances that our ears will be open and that we will hear the sunrise. And whenever I walk through the forest, I'm reminded of a Cherokee saying. The Cherokees say that the trees are wiser than us, and that's why they remain silent. And that's when I walk through the woods, I like to remain silent. And as I remain silent, I can hear all the sounds that are going on around me. The philosopher Jacques Luceron was legally blind. He could not see the sunrise, but he could hear it. He observed that sound is not something outside of us, but a real presence inside of us. Sound goes deeper than the surface of things and vibrates and trembles in us. The birds that sing in the outward world are experienced as sounds vibrating inside of us inwardly, and we can feel that sound in our throat and in our chest and in our whole bodies. In the yoga, there's a tradition called the internal sunrise meditation. It's an opportunity to be still, to quiet the mind, to concentrate on our breathing, to visualize the sunrise inside of us, the gradual illumination of our inner lives, to open ourselves up to the experience of daybreak in our soul, a moment to realize the light that illuminates all things is within us. And while it might be frustrating to the Mr. Burns and other cartoon capitalists of the world, the sun is a source of free heat and light and energy. However, much more than this, the sun has also been an inspiration to spiritual traditions found in all the great world religions. Early human religion tended to be tribe first or nation first. This is a tendency we have not entirely outgrown. But at some point, people began to notice that the light of the sun does not discriminate against people on the basis of race, creed, color, or national origin. The sun shines on all people in every land. The sun crosses every boundary and border and is always an immigrant. The sun shines on the rich and poor alike. The light, heat, and energy of the sun are available for all. And we can hear this insight in the words of the rabbi who told us to love our enemies, that we may be children of the one who makes the rain fall on the just and the unjust, and the sun rise on the evil and the good. So let me end this sermon by saying, according to meteorologists, the sun rose this morning in Knoxville, Tennessee at 7:35 a.m. However, the internal sunrise happens whenever we make peace with the universe, make peace with our neighbors, make peace with ourselves, and find a moment when we feel like there is no one who is our nemesis, no one who is our enemy, no one with whom we need to quarrel or fight or bicker. And for this reason, we can feel within us the dawn of a new light, and we can sing with new meaning the words of an old spiritual, "Day is a breaking in my soul."
I invite you to turn with me to hymn number 1066 in your teal hymnal, "O Brother Sun." Please rise and embody your spirit.